Welcome to the very first edition of Green Scene. It's a programme designed to get you involved in saving our planet. I'm Kate.
I'm Moira.
And I'm Mark.
And we'll focus on worldwide events plus looking at issues that are happening in your very own back garden.
In today's programme, we take a look at green organisations and how you can join them. Plus, I'll be showing you how to make your very own recycled clothes. But first, over to Mark.
None of us can have failed to be touched by this week's headlines of the unfolding tragedy on the Scottish coast, where thousands of animals have been killed. Here's the latest from the oil disaster. The stricken oil tanker Brer is still being smashed against rocks off the Shetland Islands today as hurricane-force winds continue to hamper rescue efforts. Conservationists now say 80,000 tonnes of crude oil has spilt from the tanker, killing thousands of animals and polluting 35 miles of coastline. Among the casualties so far are 400 birds, 200 seals and up to 100 sea otters. Many dead fish are also being washed up along beaches and rocks, which are coated with brown slicks of toxic scum. Animal experts fear the oil spill could seriously affect wildlife in the area for the next 10 years. And as huge waves continue to slam the ship against rocks today, there were new fears that the giant oil slick could spread to Orkney and Fair Isle, which would mean an agonising death for yet more animals. Nearly £10,000 has already been spent on rescuing animals in the area, and the RSPCA today appealed for more funds to continue their work. And you can help them by making a donation. Simply ring the RSPCA's free phone number on 0500 343 536. That's 0500 343 536.
Now, the fashion world is always changing, and it's not easy to keep up with what's in each year. As clothes get more and more expensive, people are turning to second-hand shops and jumble sales to hunt out their bargains. But a group of people in Birmingham have opened a shop which they think solves the problem. It's called Scrap Scrap and sells hats, jackets and bags, all made out of old blankets and bedspreads, things that people would normally throw away. A group of design students at the University of Central England have also come up with a very unusual way of recycling fashion. They used real rubbish, cans, bin liners and newspapers to make fashion such as wedding dresses. They've called their video Trash City.
A trash city, video dreams, a 24/7 dream. Hey boys, I'm a planet queen of the 21st century. A trash city icon, it's only a hit for a lazy gun. I got my finger on the trigger, I'm gonna do a shoot and rock. I'll see you, honey, when the shooting's done.
It's certainly green, but I don't know if I'd want to walk down the high street in some of those things. So you could always have a go at making this serape. It's made out of an old blanket. Perhaps a relative's got one you could use, or I got this one from a jumble sale. The blanket needs to be 152 centimetres long and 110 centimetres wide, and halfway across one end I've cut a slit down the material that's 75 centimetres long. You'll need to turn under the ends you've cut and sew them down to make sure they don't fray. Once you've done that, you might like to brighten up your blanket by doing some blanket stitching. Here I'm using some wool that I've unpicked from a jumper I bought at a jumble sale. The blanket stitching needs to be done around the whole of the blanket, and so it could take you quite a long time. But as you can see, once it's finished, it looks quite effective. Also, I've used some fabric paints and spray painted a design onto it. The fabric paints are also easy to use. Here I've got some stencils, a moon and a star. All you need is some fabric paint, which you can get at any sort of good craft shop. Paint it on. While you're doing this, once you've finished the painting, you'll need to make sure you fix the fabric paint, usually not using iron. It should say instructions on the bottle. If you don't fix the paint, you will find they run when you go out in the rain, which is a bit of a shame after you spent so long making the serape. Once you've finished putting your design over the whole of the blanket, it should look something like this, and you'll be able to step out in style for a fraction of the price it will cost you in the high street. What do you think, Kate?
That looks great. Now, if you want to make a serape like this, send off a fact sheet at this address.
That's Green Scene, Media Department, the University of Central England, UCE, Perry Barr, Birmingham, B42 2SU. Remember to mark the top of your envelope with Programme 1 and include a stamped self-addressed envelope about this size so we can send the fact sheets off to you.
Now, the Amazon jungle is the world's largest tropical rainforest, but a leading green organisation says it won't survive into the next century. Friends of the Earth predict that by the year 2000, man will have destroyed it all. Described as the greatest forest on Earth, the Amazon jungle covers 2.5 million square miles, an area almost the size of the United States of America. And just as impressive as its size is the hundreds of animals it nurtures, for there are more species in the jungle than anywhere else on Earth. Over millions of years, life forms have evolved to fill every available jungle space. If the latest predictions by Friends of the Earth do come true and the forest disappears within our lifetime, then all these beautiful creatures will become homeless and in grave danger of becoming extinct. The biggest threat to the animals comes from the large multinational businesses that cause enormous destruction to the jungle. There is a plan to build over 100 dams in the Amazon. This means flooding a massive area of forest and leaving thousands of inhabitants without a home. In 1988, the Yanomamo Reserve was invaded by 40,000 illegal gold prospectors, the latest and most dangerous threat to their survival. So whatever their business is, whether it's banking, fast food or digging for gold, it's these kinds of organisations that contribute most to the speed of jungle destruction. Some companies harvest trees for timber, others are searching for minerals, oils and power, and some are clearing thousands of acres of land for ranching. Every year an area the size of Belgium is obliterated to make way for the money-grabbing concerns. Massive areas of woodland are burnt and the vast open spaces provide cheap land for the big businesses, despite the devastation it's causing. So the outlook for the world's most spectacular animal kingdom is looking increasingly bleak. It's gradually being destroyed in front of our very eyes. If it is obliterated by man, upsetting the ecological balance, the effects on the environment worldwide will be devastating. So Friends of the Earth are issuing a plea, asking each of us to do our bit to help stop the erosion of the greatest forest on Earth before it really is too late.
Many forests, like the Amazon, are failed to produce wood pulp to keep the world supplied with paper. Now environmental groups are trying to make sure that the rate of felling is slowed down by encouraging people to recycle the paper they use. One of these groups is Friends of the Earth, and their information officer for Birmingham, David Clare, is here with me in the studio. Thanks for coming in, David. How much paper is recycled in the UK?
About a third of all the paper that's used. There's about 10 million metric tonnes of paper used in this country every year, and we recycle about 30%, 33% of it.
And what sort of paper can people recycle?
Almost everything from high-grade computer paper down to newspaper, very low-grade cardboard, almost anything really.
And what sort of paper does this recycled product produce?
Well, it can produce all kinds, all grades of paper, all colours. The high-grade papers can go to be made into new computer paper. The low-grade papers can go for new newspaper, toilet rolls, you name it, a tremendous variety.
Where can people take their paper to get it recycled?
Well, in the Birmingham area, there's plenty of sites. If the people contacted the recycling officers for Birmingham, then they'd tell them a site near them.
Why do you think that paper recycling is so important?
Well, the massive quantity of paper used in Britain every year. If we didn't recycle it, we'd destroy a tremendous number of forests and have to plant many more in very sensitive areas. There's also an interest for the industry to recycle because there's a saving of energy. There's quite a saving of energy for making recycled paper compared to virgin pulp.
Earlier on we saw an article on recycled clothing, and now we're talking about recycling paper. Why is recycling becoming so important in Britain today?
For various reasons. The government are beginning to realise that there's not much landfill sites left. They need to recycle rather than throw away. The public themselves are also realising that it's very important. They see on television and see in the press that it's important to recycle things, everything really. So it's coming from both ends really. Local authorities also have got the facilities for people to recycle. So it's beginning to all come together.
So it's definitely a growing industry then, recycling?
It needs to be. In Britain we recycle only about 3% of all the waste that local authorities take. So there's tremendous possibilities if only people will realise it.
Thanks a lot for coming in, David. Now, on to this week's Green File, which takes a look at the UK's top 5 green groups. Mark has the details.
We start at number 5, where for £4 you could become a member of the Watch Trust. You get a quarterly magazine and 3 newsletters each year. At number 4, it's a new entry, the Youth Tag Technology Group, who help third world countries' environments. It costs £5 to join, and you'll get magazines plus useful facts to help you at school. At 3, it's the National Trust, who send you their magazine and special newsletter 3 times a year for £7.50. You'll also get free entry to the Trust's properties. At 2, it's the Worldwide Fund for Nature, where for a £5 you'll receive a welcome letter, badge, youth supplement, plus a quarterly magazine. But it's the RSPCA who clinched the #1 spot in the first Green Scene charts. For just £2.50, you can join one of the world's largest organisations. And just look at what you get. A fascinating magazine 6 times a year, a membership card, certificate, badge, a sticker, plus newsletters as well. And that's not all. By joining the RSPCA, you can also take part in many of the group's sponsors' walks, fundraising events and competitions. But first, here's our competition. How do you fancy winning yourself and your school some fantastic prizes? You could win a year's free membership to this week's top society, the RSPCA, and your school an information pack telling you how to make your own environmental video that features the Midlands Merry Hill Shopping Centre. All you have to do is tell us in which Midland town is the Merry Hill complex. Is it A, Dudley, B, Redditch, or C, Wolverhampton? Simply send your answers to this address: Green Scene, Media Department, UCE, Perry Bar, Birmingham, E42 2SU by January 31st.
We hope you've enjoyed the first edition of Green Scene. If you tune in next week, there'll be a feature on council recycling plants. What do they recycle and how do they do it?
Plus, I'll be getting wet, putting on my welly boots with the birds at the Wildfowl Trust at Slimbridge in Gloucestershire.
And I'll have an exclusive interview with Michael Jackson about his new Heal the World Foundation. So join us next week at the same time. Until then, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
It's 5:55 a.m. and at 102.4, Buzz FM's overnight presenter is nearing the end of its stint. But at Birmingham's newest radio station, the night shift is handled by a computer. Fully automated, Buzz FM still employs human presenters, like Mike McKenzie, who starts at 10 with the Golden Years, an hour of 60s sounds, through till 2 with a varied mix of music, giveaways every hour, plus all the day's events. Drive Time with Nick Tuff starts at 2 with traffic and travel, news on a half hour with Sybil Fennell, the weather, prize competitions, and plenty of surprises and humour with the Afternoon Zoo Crew until 7. At 8, it's Freaky D with 4 hours of dance, funk, soul classics old and new, and star interviews. Freaky D till midnight. But back at 6, we join John Ryan and Eddie Peters, who get up at that unearthly hour every single morning with Buzz FM's Breakfast Show.
Here's what's happening on Buzz FM.
60 minutes after 7 right now. Check out what's happening out and about around Birmingham this evening. You're thinking of going to the movies. First off, here we have a list of ones you should be watching out for. Sniper stars Tom Berenger. Scent of a Woman, which we've been talking about over the past few days, has Al Pacino in the starring role. He plays the part of a blind Vietnamese... Let's start this again. Scent of a Woman stars Al Pacino playing the part...
Are we on now?
Oh.
We're not recording, are we? Oh, we are.
Hard questions.
What's the format? Tried and tested, I think. Yeah.
Actually, we try and formalise it, but it sort of goes all over the place. I mean, you're trying to get all the standard things in, like traffic, travel, news, sports, basically what's happening. You've got to remember on the breakfast show, your audience is probably only there for maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most. So you tend to repeat a lot of the things that you do. But competitions, I mean, it's a mixture of everything. We sit down and we plan it, but as I say, when you're actually on, it doesn't always go to exact.
Go to plan,
yeah. But once you get the main ingredients in there, I mean, when you do phone calls, you don't know who's going to be on the end of the line when you do a competition, what that person's going to be like.
We always get loners, don't we? I don't know why.
Yeah, sort of people that are listed, you know. But you never know exactly how it's going to go for you.
More music, more fun. Buzz FM.
Stereo 102.4, it's Mike Mackenzie right here between now and 2 o'clock, so it has to be sometime during the next hour that we play Crowded House's Weather With You. As soon as you hear that, 212-1024, be lucky caller number 3, and you're off to the Showcase Cinema, courtesy of Buzz FM.
I've been in radio around about, it's got to be about 4 years now. Started off doing the usual things, hospital radio and all that sort of stuff. My first paid presenting job, if you like, was install radio at the Virgin Megastore in Birmingham City Centre, plug in their merchandise, store announcements, local information, all that sort of stuff. But what that actually does is it gives you a good background, well, it trains you to do the actual real thing, if you like.
Mike Mackenzie, mid-morning presenter on Buzz. Now this is possibly the jewel in Buzz FM's high-tech crown. The whole of this screen is touch-sensitive, and it's from here that the music is cued. Any one of 7,000 tracks in the library can be called up by the presenter. For example, Madonna, they go to M, and then choose the required track. As Freaky D will explain later, this makes the technical side of being a presenter easier and leaves more time to be creative. Soon after a track is finished, it falls into the log, which is an electronic account of the day's programming. Tracks highlighted in green would have finished early. Tracks in purple were not used at all. All commercials, music and the autopilot facility, where the presenter can leave the studio unattended, are logged here. Touchscreen is almost exclusive to Buzz FM in having this system. Nicole from Leebank won over £1,500 on Buzz FM's cash call. Later that week, £5,000 was at stake on the Great Cash Giveaway at 102.4.
Buzz FM.
Did we? What's your name? Andy. Andy. You called us 17, mate. Where are you calling from? Whereabouts? Erdington. Well, do try again, won't you, Andy? Because, I mean, it's still to be won, but you call us 17 at the moment. Okay, mate. Cheers. Bye now.
On the phone?
D-Sing.
D-Sing?
Yes.
D-Sing, where are you calling from?
Birmingham.
What's your first name?
Devinda.
Devinda?
Yes.
You have just won yourself £5,000.
You're lying.
No, you are the winner.
Matt Jessica?
You have just won £5,000, Devinda.
What?
What have you got to say?
What? I've won.
You've won £5,000. And this is the only time we'll let you swear. £5,000. The cheque is here.
Is it?
Yep, Devinda. We have ambassador cars waiting to pick you up. They are going to whisk you down to our studios in the Jewellery Quarter. You will be on this show, hopefully, within half an hour. Edwin Starr is here as well. Edwin, what have you got to say? £5 grand.
£5 grand?
£5,000.
Congratulations to you. How you feeling?
All right, not too bad.
Okay. Well, we'll see you in about a half an hour then.
Half an hour? I'm not even changed.
Okay, don't worry about it.
It doesn't matter.
Oh.
With £5,000, you can go and buy a complete wardrobe.
Okay, I'll be here.
It was great fun. It's a lot of hard work, as you probably can, you will see on the video, but it is very, very good fun to give away that sort of money as well, yeah. In my opinion, radio is about having fun, but it's obviously also about giving out information as well, local information. But if you can have fun on the radio and have fun with what you're doing, then generally the people listening to you at home or at work or in their car, they can enjoy what they're listening to, especially with what was going on this afternoon with the giveaway.
The familiar sound of Buzz FM. But how does it get to our radios? Well, this is the Buzz FM transmitter on top of the Metropolitan Tower in Birmingham city centre. All radio stations have this kind of equipment, but Buzz FM is different. Chief Engineer Lindsay Reed explains why.
Most of the daytime programming for the station comes from these 6 CD jukeboxes, each of which holds 60 CDs, and on each disc there are about 10 tracks that are in use. So with the 360 slots that we have in total here, there are about 3,600 records available on the playlist that come out of these CD jukeboxes. The reason we chose this type of system was that, one, it means the presenters don't have to handle records. Records don't disappear from the record library because the record library to a large extent is actually physically in the machines all the time, and we have control over which records are played when and where. The system just carries on in automation. You can see this CD's just being put away in this CD jukebox. It's now going off to find another one, which won't be the next record that's due to play on air. It'll be 3 or 4 records away, which allows, although normally the presenter is supposed to play the records in order that they appear on his screen in the on-air studio, it does give him an element of choice. If he particularly thinks that one record won't go with another for whatever reason, he's normally got another 3 or 4 records queued up ready to go. All the commercials and jingles for the station come from this unit over here, which DAM stands for Digital Audio Mass Storage System, which gives us 3 hours worth of stereo jingles, commercials, promos, trails, and so on and so forth. And these 2 units are associated here with the disk drives. These are the disk drives, and all the computing and audio encoding, decoding is done by that Dolby box there. And just in case the computer trips up or a CD skips or doesn't play, gets jammed, this box senses that there's a silence and tells the computer, which is over here, that it should forget what it's doing at the moment because it's not actually doing it and move on to the next thing. And that's really what's in this side of the equipment, which differs greatly from what is in most other radio stations. And the reason it's really here is that we decided that either we were going to embrace the new technology, since we only started 3 years ago, or we could put in the same equipment that other radio stations are still using today, which was brought into service 15 or 20 years ago. And it seems silly if we were going to use the old technology and then other stations would go ahead of us, embracing the new technology. And it means that we're able to broadcast commercials and earn money during the night by having commercials coming off the DAM system, records coming out of this system, without actually having to employ a presenter overnight. So we actually make money out of the equipment.
Well, it's a double-edged sword because there are some advantages to being the technology that we have around here. There are some definite advantages, i.e. being able to select a track from the library within 20 seconds and get it ready to be queued and pre-fade the track, knowing exactly how long the duration of the track is and exactly how long the intro of the track is. Those are advantages because, like, you know, you could sit with a stopwatch around your neck, turntable, you queue. Okay, that's how many seconds? Right. Okay, that's fine. How long? What's the duration? Right. I don't want to crash the vocals here because that will not sound professional. So I know I have to speak up to 15 seconds because that's the intro of the track before the vocals come in. Right. What am I going to say now? What did I just play? What do I have to do? Oh, it's weather. Wait a second. We got a news bulletin here. With the computer, all of that is already, the program is, it's sort of pre-programmed or pre-prepared for you. All you have to do is get into the hot seat, sit, and be creative.
Freaky D, Buzz FM.
Fellas, listen. Take it from Freaky D. This young lady looks as good as she sounds. Lifted from the album Precious, Shantae Moore. Now that love has taken over.
102.4 Buzz FM.
Husband and wife team Sybil Fell and Chris Carey have owned Buzz FM since December 1992. What attracted them to the station?
An opportunity too good to miss. It was a big city, second city of England. The promise of performance to the radio authority was really quite general. We have, obviously like all stations, we have special things we have to do, but they're not outrageous and they're not difficult to deal with. And they fit in with the programming ideas that I thought would work in '93.
When you see a chance, you've got to take it.
Absolutely. It's all opportunity, isn't
Yeah, it was just an opportunity that was given to us on the 15th of December, and by the 22nd of December, we'd bought the station and moved in. We were very lucky that we went and Cambridge with 50 or 60 staff. We're also very lucky that we own the transmitters, we own all the studio equipment, so it's not as if you're encumbered with massive leases, you actually own everything outright. Plus, there's another big franchise coming up in the area, which could be very interesting as well. So Birmingham's very well placed, and it's Britain's second city.
The media is a tough industry, so as owners of Birmingham's newest radio station, what qualities did you look for in a presenter?
That can speak English, humour, a good attitude. The music thing isn't, strangely enough, I prescribe to the Tony Blackburn of this world that you don't have to be a music genius. You don't, in fact, you're worse off if you're what you know as a muso. If you look down the whole chart and say, I love every one of those records, you'll be a very strange disc jockey. You know, you're a disc jockey because you're a salesman, you would have been an actor if you'd been, or a stand-up comedian if you'd had a little bit more talent. If you had less talent, you would be a door-to-door salesman, and you just sort of fitted in that you were able to get into quite a safe industry. If you're well-spoken, got a good way with you, reasonable diction, and just a topical feel to what's going on that day, music is very secondary.
Just before we go, one last question. If you were an object in a bathroom, what would you be?
What's a stupid question?
Bar of soap?
Bar of soap.
Bar of soap would be good, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, bar of soap would be good.
An object in a bathroom, what would I be? I'd probably be the shower head fitment.
It's a very difficult question. Very difficult. Swine. I think it's about the first time I've been stuck for words.
Whose bathroom?
Mother-in-law's.
Selena Scott's bathroom.
Fiona Armstrong.
Fiona Armstrong's bathroom.
Yes, yes.
Lifebuoy. Yes.
Fiona Armstrong, I think, yes. Should be all right.
That'll be all right. Not half.
Not half, yeah. All right then, mate. Hey, great interview. Have you finished everything?
In Michelle Pfeiffer's bathroom, I'll probably be a loofah, I think. So well, I think that's what we'd say. I don't know, because I suppose I like going where no one else likes going. Being a toilet brush, you don't like going down the toilet and clearing off a load of waste, human waste. I was going to say shit, but I can't.
Why?
Because I'd be raining down some good stuff all over you.
And that is it.
This is the car park at the University of Central England's Perry Barr campus, and in just over a week's time the students will be back for another term. But any male students wanting to leave their cars here will be in for a bit of a shock, because this is about to become a females-only car park.
It's part of a unique campaign to protect the university's female students from sexual harassment and violence. As well as the car park, women will have their own segregated area in the cafeteria. It may seem like drastic action, but the university's women's officer felt that enough was enough and something had to be done.
It was in the car park in the evenings, the women were scared and there had been some attacks. And in the day in the canteen, queuing and things, there was remarks and, you know, sexist remarks and a bit of harassment, you know, people like touching and that kind of thing. Women were pissed off with it.
As yet, there are no plans to create a car park just for men on the Perry Barr campus. Some of the male drivers we spoke to were unaware of the changes ahead.
Females only? You must be joking. I don't believe it.
Well, as I understand, there's been a lot of attacks in the area, so if making it an all-female car park can stop the attacks, and yeah, it's a good thing, as long as there's somewhere else for the rest of us to park.
At the moment, it's just an experiment. At the end of this term, the university authorities will decide whether to adopt a permanent policy of segregation.
It remains to be seen how the segregation will be received by the students. Ultimately, they will decide whether this turns out to be a short-lived experiment or the beginning of a revolution in higher education.
It's
the start of a new term for students at the University of Central England, but this time things will be different. After increasing physical attacks on women and complaints about sexual harassment at the Perry Barr campus, men and women will be segregated outside the classroom. The decision was taken by the Students' Union Women's Officer, Leslie Broomfield.
The problem has got very serious from what I can see. I mean, I've got my statistics here, and there's quite a lot of recorded cases of just sexual harassment, anything from, you know, leering and shouting sexist remarks up to touching, and, you know, in the car park it was actual attacks. So it has become very serious. Serious enough for people to really want to act on it, and serious enough for the university to want to act on it as well, which is something.
The move means there'll be separate car parks for male and female students, as well as segregated coffee bars. But how do students feel about the changes?
I think the people who go to these kind of bars are probably the people that wouldn't mix anyway, and I can't see them being that well frequented. Maybe by Asian women or something, because they tend to be a lot more scared. But that's it.
I don't know. It's very practical, and I don't know if they're the right places to segregate people if they're going to be segregated. I can't see segregated car parks working because I mean, there's one's full, the other's empty. You know, people are going to use it.
The success of the scheme will be obvious if the number of attacks decreases, but it would seem it's another case of the minority spoiling the social life of the majority. The scheme comes under review in 3 months' time.
We're all used to segregated toilet facilities, but how would you feel if other public places were designated as women-only areas? That's the plan to be implemented at the University of Central England, where, from the start of the new term, students will find the sexes will be separated in car parks and coffee bars. I asked Women's Officer Leslie Broomfield what prompted the Students' Union to take the action.
Well, there was numerous attacks on the women in the car parks. They were harassed as they were getting into the cars late at night, especially. They were scared as much as anything else. And also in the canteens there's been certain cases of harassment and just men shouting at women, you know, the general carry on. And so there was a number of women who came to me with this problem, with a petition saying they wanted some space in the car park and the canteens where they could be women-only space and have, you know, that space to themselves. A lot of women would actually prefer to be at a single-sex university, whether this be for religious reasons or social reasons, and there isn't any anymore. So I'm just trying to, you know, give them the best I can here. I can't actually provide classes for women only, but this is the first step.
But not all students support the idea.
Seems a bit silly, really. You should just mix, you know. It's the way you make friends in this place. To mix with people of the opposite sex. I mean, there's nothing wrong about that, is there?
Oh no, totally unnecessary. No. I can't really say much more than that. The idea does not appeal to me.
The university's experiment will be reviewed in 3 months' time, when there'll be a chance to see whether male and female segregation in these areas has been successful.
New radio station set up and staffed by students at the University of Central England.
Sonic AM.
Good afternoon, it's Wednesday, the 9th of December 1993, and this is 1602 kHz Sonic AM. What have you got next, Michelle?
We've got traffic and travel and the weather.
This week, Sonic AM is in rehearsal. Next week, it's the real thing. Third-year communication students will broadcast from 7 in the morning till 8 at night. Running a radio station counts for a big chunk of their coursework, so they're not just playing at it.
Violent winds gusting at over 90 miles an hour have brought chaos to many parts of the country.
16 students have been preparing for the live broadcast for the whole term. Their station will be heard for several miles around the university campus at Perry Barr.
Conditions are also dangerous, as Elliot Levi reports.
Gales have also caused problems at sea.
The 15 crew of a freighter were winched off the south coast after being caught in mountainous seas. Their ship, Grape 1, now said to be resting on the seabed. Back to the studio.
As well as news, interviews and chat, there'll be drama and music, with a series of specialist programmes for lovers of jazz, soul, film and dance.
We don't want to make it a radio station purely for students. It's for everybody. It's for everyone really that lives in sort of north and central Birmingham.
Sonic AM at 16:02 on the medium wave starts with the Jammy Toast Breakfast Show first thing Monday morning.
Here with our sports news is Ross Appleyard.
And in tonight's sports, a wet and windy draw for Aston Villa.
Sunday trading laws have been argued about for years, with superstores and other interest groups at loggerheads over existing Sunday retail legislation. With the approach of Christmas, opinions in Britain's high streets are running strong.
All shops should be closed on a Sunday. I'm a Christian. I want to go to church on a Sunday. Not go to shops.
Some people think it's a shame for the people who have to work on Sundays, but then it can give other people a chance to work who haven't got jobs to do that job on a Sunday.
Wonderful, brilliant.
Definitely.
Work full time, got kids, and don't have to rush around town on a Saturday.
I think that you need a day of rest, and I think it's going to interrupt with people's routines.
Understandably, the church has been vocal in its opposition to any loss of character to the traditional Sunday. Tempered against that, there's a degree of support amongst the clergy to protect shop workers' rights by ensuring that Sunday working does not become compulsory.
I think we need very stringent rules to make sure that people work on Sundays on a voluntary basis rather than on that they're compelled to do so. So that they can choose, and I think we need sort of conscience clauses for people who feel that they really cannot do that on a Sunday.
The vote in the Commons on December the 8th will be the culmination of a sustained and high-profile campaign by the high street stores and the supermarkets, so much so that Sainsbury's and Tesco refuse to talk to us. In the eyes of the superstores, to be able to shop on Sunday is a right everyone should be able to enjoy.
I think it's an infringement of personal liberty, to be honest with you. They seem to be very vocal and have been for a long time, and now it's coming up in Parliament on the 8th. People are sort of realising that we need to have a voice, and we're responding.
MPs vote on the final bill next month, and with Michael Howard offering them a free vote, it's an issue that will be passionately debated until then.
It was in a magazine, though.
What, in Playgirl?
Well, I don't know which one, but there's only one of them. And the page is open.
I was wondering what you were doing in there. Hey, Mandy. Yeah? You got any of that Coke? And I don't mean the snorting kind.
Shabby sherbet. The right magazine in the right pages.
Or a lower.
Ken, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm back. Got kicked out by the KGB and it started to snow.
What, the boys in blue?
Yeah, Mandy, I got kicked out of Moscow for not having a sense of humour. And as for you, Sid, we've got a date to see a man about a dog.
But you said Monday.
It's today or we're out altogether. Let's go, yeah? This looks really delicious.
Hang on a minute, Kenneth.
What?
Where do you think you're going? You can't just slope off like that. You're not going anywhere, Sydney. This time you tell him no.
Babs, it won't be a couple of hours.
You're going.
I've got to. Look, I'll make it up to you. Sorry.
Don't go, it don't matter.
He's a bastard, isn't he?
I know.
Will you kill him sometimes?
Most of the time I wish somebody would, but I'm never that lucky.
What do you want? Where on earth am I? And who the hell are you? What is it you want with me? Look, what's this all about?
You know all the answers to that, don't you now?
I don't know anything. That's why I'm asking you now. What's going on?
You don't have to ask us anything. We want to ask you.
I've got the questions. You've got the answers. Now you tell me where I am, what I'm doing here, and who on earth you are.
We have the answers. We also want your questions, and that's wrong.
You want my questions?
We want your questions.
Well, my question is, what am I doing here? Who brought me here? And when can I leave this goddamn place?
Tell us your name.
Bob.
Are you sure?
He's lying.
My name is Bob.
Are you absolutely positive?
Positive.
Ask him again.
What is your name?
John.
Ah, minutes ago you said it was Bob. Do you remember?
I don't remember anything. It's these drugs you put into my brain.
Liar.
You're messing with my mind.
Did we put drugs into your brain?
You put all sorts of rubbish into me. That's what I'm here now for. I would have come here out of my own free will, would I?
Where do you live?
Basingstoke.
Are you absolutely sure?
I'm positive it's Basingstoke. I was there this morning. It's where you kidnapped me from.
Tell me about your mother.
My mother.
Come on, tell me about your mother. Where is she?
I don't want to talk about my mother.
Yes, you do.
What's you got to do with this?
You want to talk about your mother.
Christ's sake. My mother. I don't know who my mother is.
Yes, you do.
I have no idea.
Liar.
My mother. I don't know her. I've not had a mother since I was 12.
You left her this morning.
Rubbish.
What's your name?
Peter.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
What's your mother's name? Okay. Well, Mr. Blobby, we have several other applicants to see, but I can't see any reason why you won't get a job here with us at British Rail.
Oh, that's excellent news. You mean I can be station announcer?
If you really want to, but we didn't think you were that stupid.
Oh, station announcer, British Rail. Oh, hurrah, I've made it.
Well done.
You going to on time now?
No, I like it that way. The police got anything?
I'll do.
Right.